live.
Yeah.
And speaking of which, we're live right now, ladies and gentlemen. Here we are, Itty. We're Itty
There
Bit.
she is. There she is.
And look at, dude, I got one too. This is the first appearance from Yaya's little girl. So this is Poppy. Poppy.
Poppy.
And
oh man, yeah,
she's about
she's
5 months. Yeah, and she's great. She's a Pomeranian mini cattle dog. And so I'm kind of messing around, man. I want to make my own little breed. And so I got some skipper keys that I'm breeding. I got these guys, and then I do my health tests and all that stuff, and I look for the dog like Sequoia. Yeah, come here. So her mom, come here, is the one that's with me on all these interviews. You can just know that she's either sitting right behind me or right at my feet. But this dog is one of the most loyal dogs I've ever had in my life.
Keeping it close.
Yeah. And so, oh my gosh, who was that? Is that Itty, or was that?
That's Itty Bit. That's
okay.
That's her little. I am not so sure. I want to be on my bed. I usually don't have her all the time with me, and on these interviews, she usually goes and does whatever she wants to do. Usually cuddles with my other dog, but she's not here right now.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm looking to pull up and share this here. I don't see it yet though.
It should be there. Just refresh it. We have a bunch of people joining us, and welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another. Oh, there we go.
You found it. It's making noise now. Let me shut it up. There it goes. Found it.
Found it. So share it, everybody. If you're watching this, go ahead and hit that share button as well. I'm sharing right now. I'm streaming to my Facebook profile page, my Bow Wow Bill business page, and my YouTube channel. And if you're watching this, I'm only receiving comments from my Bow Wow Bill page and my YouTube channel. I don't receive comments from my personal page. I'll visit my personal page here and there to see if anybody's commenting. But we have joining us my man, Martin. Martin, how are you, buddy?
I'm doing well, man. How are you doing?
Doing awesome.
Bill? Excellent. I'm still sharing, so sorry about this.
Oh, don't even worry about it, man. You do your thing. So Martin and I met at an ICP conference, and Martin has Itty Bit, and I'm a big fan of little dogs myself. And I'm on a little dog kick, and there's just something about it. And we talked to Josh Moran about his little girl too. And I mean, they're a hoot, aren't they?
Yeah, they are. Small dogs are just like big dogs, except for smaller.
Yeah, they're dogs. They're dogs.
They're doing it.
So tell everybody where you're at and what you do.
All right. I am located in Boston, Massachusetts, and I am primarily a pet dog trainer. I like to call myself these days a relationship-based behavior modification expert, because there's a lot of words in that and it sounds very important. So I'm a pet dog trainer. I deal with problem behaviors as well as puppy development and trick training. I'm getting into that more and more. So
and you're in Boston?
Doing. Yes, sir. That's correct. Where are you located again?
I'm just north of Seattle, Washington. So right on the other side, man, basically.
I thought so.
Yeah, about as far away as we can get.
Only in distance, not in heart.
That's right. That's right. Well, and you know, it's crazy that it's such a different environment, man. Like our winters here are nothing compared to your winters there.
Yeah, it gets cold here. This winter, well, it's not even really winter yet. I think that starts in a few days. I think it's December 21st. Winter starts is the actual start date. I might be off by a month, but I think that's what it is. So it's late fall and it is a little chilly, but it's been really warm compared to what we usually have. You know.
Are you born and raised there?
No, I was born in Jamaica. I was raised outside of Hartford, Connecticut, in a town called Windsor, Connecticut. And I came here when I was grown, an adult.
So how long you been there?
Since 96.
96, okay. And what got you working with dogs?
Oh, what got me working with dogs? My wife got me started. She started a pet care company,
Okay.
and I was working with her for that from the very beginning. I started working with her. I was doing other things. I was also a bicycle messenger, so I was doing that at the time, and then after that, I went and I started doing heating and air conditioning install. I got laid off from that
HVAC.
job, and yep, I got laid off from that job in 2008, and I started
Big
just walking
recession.
dogs. Yep, I started walking dogs with Nell, and then from there she was like, you know what? You want to be a trainer? We should send you off. So I went off to National Canine School for Dog Trainers, and
Okay.
then 2000 that was 2010, and then I started training dogs ever since.
What did you think of that school?
I thought it was good for where I was at. It was a lot different than I thought it would be. You know,
In
at
what
that
in
time I
what
was
way?
well. It was just different because they have a much more balanced approach, you know, than a lot of the writing that was out there at that time. At that time, I think the only books that I knew of were kind of balanced was the Monks of New Skeet books and Cesar Millan's books. That
Okay.
was it at that time that I knew of. So most of the things I was reading was not from that balanced school of thought. And then National Canine, they came in with a whole nother thing that I wasn't even thinking of teaching the dog the concept of no, you know, not that, the other thing, you know, not that thing. That's not what I was thinking when I said this. I was thinking something else.
That's right.
And that changed a lot of what I
Well,
was doing.
it's clear communication, and then what do you see with the dog is that recognition, and that, that's when you start to see that, I mean, it all boils down to communication, right?
Definitely.
And then you must have had something kind of intuitive if your wife was saying, "Hey, you need to go learn training dogs and stuff." She must have saw something in you, huh?
Well, I was, yeah, I was, I mean, not only her, but other people in the neighborhood too, as we're walking dogs, they would see that I'm walking dogs that don't get along. They
Right.
would see that when I'm walking the dogs, they look calm, they're not pulling on the leash and all of that. People would be like, how come my dog is not pulling you right now? They would stop and ask me that as they're driving by. And I'm like, I don't know, just cause, you know? And then after that, I started learning more about it, and it was because I was rewarding them in the right way, and I was easy to get along with, you know.
Yeah.
So they didn't want to pull me.
Well, I think a lot of people have intuitive gifts with animals, and until they get, their hands on a few of them, they don't really recognize this. And I've seen kids, like in families that I've worked with, or even adults or whatever. I'm like, listen to this person. I'm like, they kind of know what's up. I'm here
Hmm.
to kind of polish what they know, and to give you the reason why that works and why we do that. But I think that people automatically have, I call dog training an art and a science, right? Um, because we're all individuals. That dog is an individual, and the environment that we're in is always changing. And so those are the three variables that are always moving around, and we have to kind of come into a situation, recognize a pattern as quickly as possible, and make suggestions that are going to right the path of this relationship to make it a more conducive one. And I think that some people, just like some people are intuitively gifted and kind of know, there's also people that no matter what you say or do, they're never going to get it, man. And those people need like what I call push button dogs, that just
Yeah,
the dog is just eager to please and super mellow and super chill.
yeah.
And
It's
that's
good when they have one of those.
yeah.
But the thing is, I don't know, man. It seems like it's forever, but I've had some clients who've stuck with me, and I guess they just heard it enough, you know. And then one day, you never know when it's gonna be. So I've had clients that hung around for 2 or 3 years, and then one day it's just there it is, and they got it, and then after that they have it, you know.
Yeah.
So you never know. It might seem like it's forever, you know, to the people out there. It might seem like it's forever, but it might not be that long. It might not be that bad, you know?
You know, yeah, absolutely. Good point, man. We're working with behavior, and remember that sometimes dogs have bad days. We have bad days.
Yep.
There's a lot of stuff that's going on here, and don't be too hard on yourself. And remember not just to celebrate your victories, but to praise your dog and praise your dog in action that you see, because I see a lot of people so adamant about the structure and ready to be like, not that, this, and I'm like, dude, you need to get in there and love them up. They just did exactly what you wanted, and you're quiet,
You need a running conversation, especially when
running
you're
conversation.
focusing on communication. If you're doing communication work and you're all quiet, that's not always natural. Now, I know dogs, we need to be a lot more quiet than we are with each other, but we have to recognize that we're also people and we use sounds, so we have to find the balancing ground as to when we're being effective with our noises and when we're not. But it should be a running conversation, and it's not only sounds that are a part of the conversation, obviously. There's body language and there's other cues that you have taught the dog just from being around the dog, that you can use too. But
yeah, and from being around the dog and knowing the dog, when that dog is receptive and taking in and being like, okay, got it,
that's the thing, is that we overthink it. The biggest problem that most people have is getting and holding their dog's attention.
Yeah.
That's it.
Maureen says, hi, Martin. Great to see you.
Hi, Maureen. It's good to see you too. Maureen went to school with me when back then in 2010. She was at National Canine School for Dog Trainers at the same time I was there. And I believe she's training dogs now as well, possibly in the UK.
I think that I want to go maybe to one of these schools. I've been to like the NAPOPO silver and gold schools, but I just think that as dog trainers, we need an eclectic knowledge base, and there's pearls everywhere, man. And that's the beauty about talking with people like you, and so many conversations that I've had during these live streams is I've learned so much, and just like just running conversation, right? I'm going to be taking that too, and we can borrow that from each other and to enhance. And that's what goes into what I was saying earlier about, having that eclectic knowledge base, because of the three variables, the individual, the dog, and the environment that are always changing. And as much as we can bring into that situation and bring into that fold, to bring value, not only to our client, but bring solutions, relief, fulfillment, and joy to that dog, it's our duty to learn as much as we can. And we all have something to teach each other, and we all have something to learn each other. Maureen says 10 years ago.
That was 10 years. And the journey has been continuing ever since.
Running conversation 10 years ago,
Yeah. And the thing is, according to what you were just saying too, right? Oh man, I just lost my train of thought right there, right in the middle. You're just saying something that I wanted to tag on to.
Well, the being receptive, the knowing the dog, but also having that eclectic knowledge base, learning as much as possible from as many people as possible, right? You got it?
I remember now. Yeah, it was you could always learn something from everybody. That's the thing. Even the person who has just started out, first dog, sometimes I learn good lessons from my clients that way. First dog just started out, they notice something, they do something a little different, and with that other problem dog down the road, I could pull from that and say, this worked once with one person, might work for you.
Absolutely. And it might not. And that's the beauty of it too, is like, look, we don't know all the answers either. And whenever somebody asks me a question that I don't know, I'm like, good question, man. I'm like, let me find out that answer for you. And I think that's, just like you were saying earlier about the clients that it takes 2 to 3 years, but once they got it, right? And so that's it, man. Is like, we all kind of learn at different paces, and as teachers, we need to become progressively unnecessary, right? And that's a good teacher, because we're instilling that knowledge. We're teaching these people to fish instead of handing them a fish, so to speak. Right. And so, and that's it, man, is as we watch these people too, we can get an idea. And sometimes it's not just about the dog. Sometimes it's a bigger situation, man. Like these people just divorced and they just moved into a new house, and now the dog is freaking out in the new environment. Kids just graduated, empty nesters. Just so many different things that can be. The dog is just an underlying kind of symptom to the general or the big problem, and And sometimes we have to deal with that. We're almost like psychologists, mini psychologists to our people too, you know. Do you find
Yeah.
that to be true?
I definitely do, but I try to stay focused on just the dog. The dog is a microcosm of life in a lot of ways. You know, so if we focus on the dog a lot of the times, like, it helps with other things. Like your dog needs to be on a schedule. You know, that's what needs to happen. Your dog needs
They
structure.
love
You need
it.
to provide that structure, which
Yes.
means you need to have structure. You know, and then that helps in so many different ways. But really, they come to me for the dog. So I try to stay with the dog, even although I know that the problems could be deeper.
Right.
You know?
Well, we represent that dog, and that's what we're being hired for, right?
Yes.
Is that. But I mean, it's just kind of like, you know, sometimes it's like, look, man, let's just be in this moment for a second with this animal, and let's just be present, you
Have
know,
fun.
and have fun and be
Have
open,
fun.
and not, you know, try to. I know that there might be a lot of stuff going on in your life, but let's try to just put that on the back burner for a second here, and let's
Right.
just be present, and let's just kind of, you know, let go and let the dog show us the way a lot of times, right? Because I tell people they're a good reminder of the natural law of things, or the law of nature, right? And
Right.
they teach us a lot about living in the moment, forgiveness, um, you know, being opportunistic, right?
Hmm. How to reward and how to have good timing and communication. Like itty bit and the muzzle, how to have fun. Most dogs do not want a muzzle on. You
Hmm.
know, if you're able to take your dog and if you're able to convince that dog that it wants that muzzle on, then you could convince the dog that it doesn't want to jump on people, that it doesn't want to jump on the couch, you know, that it wants to be in the crate, that it doesn't want to cry when you leave the house. You know, it's all the kind of the same thing, you know. And if you could do it with the dog, then you can start to do it in other situations. I used to have road rage. That is something. But when I started training dogs, I couldn't get upset with the dogs. So I learned how to control the road rage. Now I
A
don't have road
bicycle
rage.
messenger having road rage. Imagine that.
Imagine that. Who'd have thunk it? On the bike, I was a lot better than in the car. In the car, you have that bubble,
Yeah,
you
that
know.
torque
On,
compartment, you know, that
on a bike,
separation.
it's a little different.
There's a
You don't
book
have that
called
bubble.
Zen and the Art of Motorcycle Maintenance by Robert M. Persig, right? And that's what they
Yes.
talk about, is getting out of that bubble. And then they talk about two different types of people, like the Harley Davidson type that like to be self-sufficient, repairing their own, and then the BMW type that like a little bit more of a luxury lifestyle, that were like, you know what, do you handle this, you know? And
Hmm.
I'm kind of a BMW guy, I think. On
In
some
most,
aspects, I'm Harley, but on some aspects, I like people to handle their own stuff, and or handle stuff for me. I would gladly pay them, compensate them. I mean, that's
yeah,
what I do for a living. Like I handle stuff for people that they compensate me, and so I see value in that, right?
definitely, definitely. And when the thing needs to be done, and it could only be done in one particular way, that's when I tend to have to do it more. You know, if I'm picky about it, then I have to do it. Otherwise, I don't really have to. You know,
Yeah,
so.
circle back to that road rage. So tell me about, I mean, how did you deal with that? And are you still having issues with that at all? Or I think
Nah,
it's,
I pretty much got past it. Once I learned how to not let a dog push my buttons, I learned how to not let things push my buttons. You
mm,
know, so that is a very valuable lessons that dogs taught me. You know, so now I just kind of okay, that's what's happening, cool. You know, and I just adjust and go about what I need to go. You know, in order to get it done. You know,
observer role. Take the observer role, man. You
yeah.
know, you can't go and push that car out of the way in front of you anyway, you know, and it's like the average amount of time that we spend or we save, like driving crazy like that, is like three
Mhm.
minutes, right?
If any, if
If we
any,
don't lose time, you know.
I've seen people after I started becoming more conscious and paying attention there. I saw people who have serious road rage zipping by, you know, cutting everybody off, and then they're at the same stoplight that I am. They're right there. You know, sometimes I pull up right next to them, like we're still here.
Like this.
You know, we ain't go
Blowing
nowhere.
kisses.
No, I don't say anything because you know how it is.
Right,
They really
especially.
are busy and they really have a lot of stress and things going on in life where they feel like that's the way to get there.
Do you know what I do, man? Whenever somebody makes me angry on the road, I wish them well, dude. I wish them a belly laugh, you know?
Yep.
And I'm like, dude, I want something to happen to this person today that's going to give them like just a surge of joy and just make them laugh from their deep within, right? Something that's going to really resonate with them. And I just kind of project that on them. I just kind of, especially if I can see their face and they're all scowling or, flipping me off or whatever, I picture that face smiling as
Just
big as
have a
it can
nice
be.
day.
Yeah,
Yeah.
man. And wish that upon them.
Yep.
Then you can take that and Viktor Frankl, who he was this doctor back in World War II,
Yep.
and he was in the Holocaust, right? And he actually
I read half of that book. I didn't read the whole thing. What's it called?
It's a pretty brutal book, Man's Search for Meaning.
Yes.
Man's Search for Meaning. It's a brutal book, man, but I definitely encourage you to go back, pick it up, and read it. It's one of my favorite, because it really teaches you the depravity that human beings are capable of. We can see it. I mean, just with the Holocaust, I remember going to these exhibits and just as a child being blown away, like, how could this even happen? And I've been very interested in behavior since then, right? And I've studied behavior. I study behavior in animals, but I also study behavior in humans. And I mean, there's some books like Becoming Evil, the 101st Regiment that studies like the Polish police brigade that became an execution squad. And it's like, why do people do this? Why do people turn that way? Rwanda genocide, all that stuff. And Viktor Frankl, who actually endured the probably the ugliest, one of the ugliest stages of humanity that in our time, right? He has that quote that says, between stimulus and response. Let me make sure I get this quote right. Because I got to do it justice, man. I mean, this guy is Viktor Frankl, Man's Search for Meaning. Definitely read that book. But there he is. Between stimulus and response. Here we go.
There it is.
All right. So between stimulus and response, there is a space. In that space is our power to choose our response. In our response lies our growth and our freedom. I'm going to say it one more time. Between stimulus and response, there is a space. In that space that is our power to choose our response. In our response lies our growth and our freedom.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
And a lot of times we see that with dogs too. We try to get them.
We see that with everything. Lao Tzu says the greatest power is the power you have of yourself. The things that you have control over yourself is your greatest power altogether. So it's the same thing. When I see a dog, I decide how I want to react. The dog growls. How do I want to react with this? I could correct it quickly, or I could simply just make it into a game.
Right.
Do something else. Start some kind of play. All they're saying is I don't agree with that. That's it. Not saying much else. So
it's a conversation, man.
It's a conversation.
And that's it. And do you know what? We have conversations with ourselves, right? And just like that stimulus and response and that learning how to take this reactionary behavior because of something in the environment that we can't control, and being able to turn that into a response that actually is a good thing. Like that's what I try to do by projecting out that goodness to these people, right? But I think also what you were saying about Lao Tzu and knowing thyself and controlling thyself, right? And who else do we have control over? Ourselves.
That's it. And everybody responds to each other according to how we present ourselves.
That's right.
So if I have full control over how I present myself, then I have a little bit of control over how other people are going to present themselves towards me. I have a little bit of control over other people in a thought, Well, if I'm friendly, then the chances of people being friendly is going to be a lot higher. That's
right. Right. And if you come up like man, there's all these quotes that are coming up to me. Where you come up like wanting to start a confrontation, like we know that. Let me see.
Yeah, you can make that happen too. If you come in completely unfriendly, you can cause other people to be completely unfriendly towards you. Same thing is true with dogs, of course.
Let me
Of
see.
course.
Yeah, he says that. Look, I wish I could find this quote, but on the Lao Tzu thing too. Knowing thyself, I think, is the goal of this life. And knowing who you truly are, knowing why you're here, what your kind of contribution to this world is, right? And it reminds me of there's an old quote from the Oracle of Delphi that says, "Heed these words, you who wish to probe the depths of nature. If you do not find within yourself which you seek, neither will you find it outside. If you ignore the wonders of your own house, how do you expect to find other wonders? In you is hidden the treasure of treasures. Know thyself, and you will know the universe and the gods."
Yeah.
I think that's pretty cool, man.
That is definitely very cool.
And having control of yourself too.
Self-control, emotional control, self-discipline. Those things make a good dog trainer, and they're very important. Itty Bit agrees.
What kind of dog is Itty Bit?
Itty Bit is a min pin. She is a miniature pincer. And yeah, she's a fun little dog. She's wearing her sleeve shirt. I cut that out of a sleeve. I shrunk a wool sweater by accident. So I just cut out a sleeve and just made her a little shirt. It works. She's happy with it.
People think that they call them min pins, and they think that they're miniature Dobermans, but Dobermans, I think, were a later breed than the min pins, right? Min pins
A
were
very different breed.
and
I
that's
don't know.
different, totally different breed.
Yeah, it's a different breed. It's not like they've been shrunk down or,
Right. We didn't put him in the
altered.
dryer like his wool sweater.
But you're thinking about creating a breed of dog. That is super interesting to me. Can we talk about that a little bit?
Of course. And we could also talk about what I experienced last night, and what I'm dealing with right now with one of my old dogs, right? So I have an old dog that is actively dying, and I don't fool myself. I know what's going on, and I just observe him, and he's becoming very restless at night.
Mm-hmm.
And he kept me up pretty much most of the night last night, and he's drinking copious amounts of water, and he can't hold his fluids too well, so I have to let him out pretty frequently. But my concern is that if this dog is in pain, and so I'm kind of dealing with that right now. And as somebody that is as a professional, I mean, I have to remind my clients too. I love these dogs, and this weighs on heavy on me too. But we don't falter. We don't hesitate when we know that this dog is suffering and he needs to go home. Mm-hmm. And people, and I'm talking about euthanizing him. Mm-hmm. Right. I'm talking about putting him to sleep and ending his suffering as soon as I feel like this has gotten too much, and we're almost there, and there's a euthanasia evaluation form that I give my clients, to help them to see where they're at. But I tell my clients what a wonderful gift we can give these animals by ending their suffering after all they've given us their whole lives. Mm-hmm. Right. But it's not easy, man. Uh-uh. But it's worth it. It's worth it. We need to be diligent. And that's what I am right now with one of my guys. And then on the other aspect, and what's crazy, dude, is that I just lost a dog too this summer who passed away. She just kind of crashed. And right when Yaya went into labor, she crashed. She died. Like, it was weird how it was like almost like pushing the new life was pushing the old life away, or pushing it back to wherever we come from, right? That the fold of even that we come from, right? Come here. And so what I'm doing now is I'm a pet dog trainer too, dude, Mm-hmm. And even though I've been through these working dog schools, and I think that we have so much to learn from the working dog world. right?
Yep.
And that we can have harmony together. And at the end of the day, we're all here in this to benefit these animals and to
Right.
help our clients, right, have a better relationship with them. What I see a lot of times is that, there's a lot of these rescue dogs or whatever, of people getting dogs from other countries even, right? And what I found out from studying epigenetics from Bruce Lipton, and how important the dog's environment, especially in utero and during the formative years or the formative years. And dude, as a professional, man, we get these dogs at 2 months, right? We miss, if we get them as puppies, we miss that early phase. And it was really, I just wanted to experience it, right? I just wanted to I have some friends here that I have a doctor friend that is really, really passionate about genetics and is teaching me all this stuff about coloration and different stuff. And then we have the Embark, and I mean, there's so many things that we can do to get a really good kind of picture into the makeup of our dogs,
Right.
like never before, right? And I just think it's a great opportunity, man, to take my knowledge base and to create some amazing dogs, and based on the temperaments that I see with my dogs here, and also what my clients want, like the little cute dogs that are kind of easy, loving, and affectionate,
All right.
and
So
healthy.
what are the breeds that you start with?
So right now I have mini cattle dog and a Pomeranian. So I did a mini cattle dog Pom, and that's what Poppy, where are you at? Oh my God, they're cuddled up together. Mom and
Yep.
little daughter are all cuddled up together. I should have taken it, or I should have walked you over there. But here's Poppy. And so and I kept her, and she's going to be a dog that, I'm going to breed later on. And I think I'm going to breed her with another Pomeranian. Okay, we're going to see. I'm going to check out the dogs that I have, but
Why did you choose the Pomeranian and the cattle dog as dogs to mix?
just, man, it was what I mean, these dogs that I had were crazy cool dogs, man. And that's what it was. Like was going to breed Yaya with Ash, my 2 cattle dogs. But I have this tricolor Pom, who's actually my other friend's dog, and he had a stellar health checkup, and he was just a cool dog, man. Yeah. And that's basically it. Is I just want to see and experiment, and just kind of come up with my own little guys. That and the other dogs that I have are skipper keys too, and I have AKC that I'll be doing some purebred skipper keys. But my skipper keys are brown, right? I have the chocolate skipper keys where the vast majority of them are black, right? And I can't show them, but I just love them, dude. I do what speaks to my heart, and but I do it right. I try to do it right. I try to have my due diligence with with imprinting with these dogs, and all these dogs are super clicker charged, man. Like even when I would let Mom into the room, I would click, and then we get fed. Anytime that they would get fed, they'd always get a click. If I click this clicker, I wonder if I got a dog treat anywhere. But I have a clicker here. Whoops. That she would just, you could just see her lose her mind. But and they're litter box trained.
Nice.
And the cool thing is, man, is that all the puppies that I've placed, and I place them in families, right, with kids. And seeing those kids' faces, man, when they get their puppy, dude, and knowing that this dog is going to be a good dog for them, like, and seeing that the dog is happy and open and receptive to these kids, and they're going to have a wonderful relationship, because a dog, I think, is a good opportunity for that kid to switch the roles and become the leader themselves.
Yep. And to start to practice that watching and paying attention, how to watch a dog.
Observe.
That's what I talk to all my young children about. Is how to watch the dog, how not to be too much for the dog, to see when they don't like it, to see when they like it, and of course not to pet stranger dogs.
Yeah.
No, you can't pet the dog. Don't ask.
Well, and also to ask them, how would you feel if your little brother messed with you during this time, or and just kind of let them, and you can see them, you can see those. Hey, my
Yeah.
dog's going too,
My
but
my dog is going because she wants to get upstairs. I think my wife is feeding
oh, you can
dinner
let her,
now,
you
and
can let
then
her out if you,
she wants to go up there. Let me
yeah,
go bring her up. All right, give me
yeah,
one
you
second.
bet. I'll do a solo here. Let's see.
Doug,
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to intermediate time.
up.
No, just kidding. So we got Poppy here, and then my wife just came in too, so she's wondering what's up with her. But Poppy's her hair's getting long.
Nice.
She's a love. Sometimes too much. Oh, there you are.
There,
We're
yep,
back, ladies and gentlemen. Martin.
back again. Little poppy break there, huh?
Yeah, Poppy break. Speaking of
Nice.
which, man, I went and got one of those Nespresso machines for my birthday
Mm-hmm.
this year. And dude, I've been drinking way too much coffee.
Yeah,
Get
there
like,
was a time. There was a time there where I was up to 3 or 4 cups in the morning, and I was like, I gotta stop.
yeah. I'd be like, why am I
Yeah.
getting a panic attack at 2 p.m. into my road rage? It's
Yep.
coming
Now,
back.
that'll get you going. Gotta get there. Gotta get there now.
So yeah, I don't know where this breeding thing is gonna go. I definitely am gonna be doing some AKC litters with my skipper keys, right? And I like that. I like that aspect to it, and seeing the pedigree of my skipper keys, and
Mm-hmm.
and just seeing what cool dogs they are, and how the cool temperament that they have, and but that's it, man. It's family dogs, and some of these dogs, like, I'll sell for a premium because I'll train them up too. Like, people will get a dog that's older. I just sold a dog for down in Evergreen, Colorado. I think we finally got 7,500 for that dog, and so but that dog it's like a turnkey dog.
Mm-hmm.
I bring and this guy's an artist. That is, even when he was down there watching him create art, it was just so cool to see, man, that's what they live. That's their life.
Yep.
Just like our life is with the dogs, and that's what we do every day. I mean, it's just cool to see the little snapshot into other people's lives, and to see what doors these dogs open up for us, man.
Yeah. They do get us out there seeing new stuff. But you're an artist too, so it's the same, right?
Yeah, yeah.
You
Well,
know
do you
that
do
life
any
very
art?
well.
Do you do
I
any art,
I
or
I play a little music. I also
okay?
draw and things like that too. I wouldn't. Yeah, I am an artist because I do art. But I went to Berkeley College of Music, and I studied composition there, and I write music
Really,
occasionally. Yeah.
really. What do you
Hmm.
like to write?
Stuff. Whatever.
Is there
I used to have I used to have a funk group back when I was in
funk?
school.
No
Yeah, and I
way.
still kind of mess with that kind of music. I also like drum and bass stuff now. I like to do a lot of that stuff with the computer. It's really like not
Nice,
easy,
man.
but it's convenient.
That's the drum
There
and
you
bass, my
go.
buddy. My buddy DJ Slant Tooth. A long time ago, did drum and bass, and then what were you saying earlier? What else
The
did you like?
funk,
Yeah.
definitely.
So I know Bernie Worrell when he was here on this planet before he passed away.
You knew him?
Absolutely, I trained his dog,
Keyboard player at P Funk, right?
P Funk and Talking Heads.
And
and
Talking Heads.
and his wife is still here. She lives up here in the Pacific Northwest. I still speak with her, and
Hmm.
wonderful lady. He was a wonderful guy. But that's what I'm talking about, man.
He had a very unique sound. I'm familiar with his Parliament and his P Funk stuff with George
the
Clinton
day,
and all
dude.
that stuff.
That was it,
That's what
man.
I'm really familiar with
Yeah,
from him. But it's yeah, that was heavy.
yeah,
He
yeah.
definitely had a unique sound, a unique gift for the way that he played that keyboard.
Well, I think too that was. I mean, just like we see even today with certain aspects of music, especially with like hip hop and stuff like that. I mean, I don't like the mumble stuff, but and being able to meet some of these music producers that I've met working with their dogs and stuff, and being able to see the creative process and man, it's almost all the same. Like we kind of start, and then we build it up, and then we go right back down, build it back up, and then we look, for things that we need to improve on and polish on. And then we go back and we just work on it. And it's the same thing with these dogs too, man.
Dog training is very much the same. Well, yeah, they have so much in common with each other. Like every aspect of that life, dog training, art, it's a lot the same. Dog training is fun because it brings you into that present moment, with the dog, and same thing that art does, right? Music is how we decorate time, you know.
I love
So
that.
it's like, it is what
Say
it
that
is.
again, dude. Music is how we
Decorate time.
decorate time.
That's
Like
what it
art is
is.
how we decorate space, right? You got this art. Like I love these miniatures, man. Like
Yeah.
they're like little miniatures. And dude, you know what I got? Like, let me just show you. Like here's a little miniature, like Cool Whip thing, my dirty nails. But this. I love miniatures, man. Like they just do something to me. I look at them, and I got these art pieces that are big pieces that this dude just makes little miniatures. His what the hell is on his Instagram? Check him out. What the hell on Instagram?
What the hell? I will.
Yeah, but it's
I
like,
will
and
have to check
he
that
does
out.
like even the grime and stuff in there, and I mean it's just super duper cool, dude. And then you could even the lights, turn it on here. I'm just gonna walk over here. Let's see if I can
I mean, miniatures have been a thing for a long time. There are people who have miniature like worlds in their basement and stuff.
Yeah, so here's one of the, I don't know if you can see this here. Oh, I need to redo the batteries, but this is kind of just like a storefront, and same thing
Yeah,
here. This one's a meat market.
yeah.
Oh, the batteries are good on this one, so then it lights up. Isn't that cool? And then even up on the room, like you can shine all the way in there. There's like beer cans on the floor, like they're stealing cable. You see the
Yeah,
cable going into the room,
into the window.
and that's art, man. That just speaks to me. I had to have that piece, and a lot of these, because of the dog training, a lot of these artists, I'll trade even my dog training for their art,
Yeah, if you love it, definitely,
because it has value,
definitely.
and just like the money. And I tell people there's a money that pays our bills, but there's a money that pays our heart, right?
Hmm.
And the money that pays our brain, the money that pays our body, right? Working out, and can't just get all just one. You got to get it all, man. That's how you're truly wealthy.
Yep, you got to enjoy it. If you're not enjoying what you're doing, especially if you're training dogs, if you're not liking it, if you're not having fun, you're doing it wrong.
And that's
You
kind
should
of
be
where
having fun with your dog training.
that's why I do what I do, man. And that's where I
Yeah.
kind of go with what I do. And we all have that heartbeat, right? And not all of our beats the same. We all have to march to the beat of our own drum, and it's that's where I think a lot of people don't do. And thinking with this COVID thing, man, like it's making people reevaluate their purpose, right? What do you
Hmm.
think?
That COVID is making, I think COVID is changing the whole world right now. I mean, it's a tough situation to be in. But we're
Are you
watching how things are changing so quickly, with even how we do business, everything has changed just overnight. It was quick, you
Yeah,
know.
we've definitely taken a hit,
Yeah, we've
you know.
changed. Like now, everything is going to telemarketing, over the lines and wires and internet stuff, and that's really cool. I don't have a problem with that. It's going to have ramifications all the way down the line. The real estate is going to change commercial real estate, which for a dog trainer is pretty good because we need space, you know.
Yeah,
And in Boston, it was very hard to get space,
in
because
Manhattan too, dude. I hear that Manhattan is, I mean, crazy. Like, um, and I've seen these videos like where people have been talking about how it's unsustainable, even before COVID.
yeah.
You know, I was thinking the
It's a
same.
little different.
Heather Tyack says, I was thinking the same. Haha. About the land, about getting the land. Yeah, it might be a good opportunity. That's what I'm assuming that she's talking about.
Hmm.
And that's it. I mean, it's just like what we were talking about, between stimulus and space. It's not what happens, but how you respond to it, right? And this
Right.
could be like something that shuts down your whole life, or this could be the opportunity that you've been looking for to put you on the next level, or for you to really live your dreams.
For you to rediscover, in order sometimes for other doors to open, some doors have to close, and this was just some doors closing or other doors opening.
Yeah,
St.
same.
Pete, yeah, everywhere is expensive. Real estate prices are really high, and commercial real estate. Now that people are learning that they don't necessarily need to have that office for their business that sells insurance, that's going to kind of fix some of the real estate prices, I believe, so we'll see.
Well, it's just the fact that the world's always changing. Even with like, I'm a big fan of blockchain, and I think there's insurance companies that are coming out on the blockchain. That's going to be totally different than um, what we experience today. I think a lot of these industries that we experience today, there are some parasitic middlemen that need to go away. And especially in the financial and stuff like that. But real estate might be the same way. You know.
Hmm.
Do you guys have a space down there? Or are you?
I had a space on till March, and then I had to close it down. I intend to open a new space, hopefully 2021.
Okay.
And
So
then
you got
it'll
affected
keep
by
going.
COVID right then too.
Yes, I did. It has just been effect. But once again, I don't see it as a negative necessarily. I
Okay.
see it as a negative in some ways. There's some things that are really sad about it, but there's other things that are not, sad about it. And in time, we're needed. People still look for our services, and we're still, even though our growth was different this year, we're still a growing dog training company, and we're still learning. We're still helping people. So I believe next year is going to be a really great year. Can't wait to get back to my daycare. There's so many things I want to do again that I'm not doing right now.
Yeah.
So
Dude, that's what I was saying. It was like, man, I love having my own little puppy class and nobody's here. It's just me, like all these puppies moving
and
around and
puppies.
right, and just having fun. And man, it's like, dude, it's a really cool thing.
The
But I
thing
like
that
what you said is it's an opportunity. Like I just bought a commercial floor scrubber for a steel man because of the business that was, auctioning
the
off their stuff, and God bless
The
them.
cool
But
thing is that I was in a building for like the last 6 years working indoors. This whole year, I got to train dogs, group classes, private lessons, everything outdoors. You know, even my puppy kindergarten class is outdoors for this whole year. I'm still doing outdoors now in Boston. So it is kind of different, and the environment, accepting the cold and working with the dogs around distractions and getting them to listen in that environment rather than being in the training lab. There's a lot of value there. And I
yes,
think that wherever I go next, outside is going to be a huge part of what we do. You know,
okay.
I enjoy it.
Well, I notice a difference in the dog's behavior when indoors versus outdoors.
Yes. Yes, there is a difference. But at the same time, it's not as big as it seems like it would be. If the
Right.
language is good, the dog listens indoors or outdoors. If you're consistent, you have structure and their stress level is right, it doesn't really matter. But I would have clients before this who would say, well, he listens here in this room. And then we'd just go outside to the parking lot and I'd show him that the dog listens there too. But now they would say things like, okay, on your sidewalk, he listens. I'm like, well, this is just a sidewalk,
Yeah. I
so it's
tell him,
just about
that
extending it.
he's showing us that it's possible. He's showing us, and if he does it with me and he doesn't do it with you, why? Why is this?
Hmm.
Why are we dealing with this? Why does he, like, with no issue whatsoever? Like, what's going on here?
Yes.
And I try to
Yes.
get them to be like, because you're a professional. I'm like, yep, I have pay me, but that's not it. Like, good answer, and then we start to boil down the relationship, that dynamic that they have.
This relationship. Yep. If you tell a dog to do something 2 times or 3 times and the dog does it 3 times, the dog knows what you're asking them to do. You know? So why didn't the dog sit? Because he didn't want to sit for you, right? And if that's then it's how do I connect with the dog? It always comes back to that. How do you keep your dog's attention? How do you connect with the dog? And that's what I keep trying to, everything we do is just to connect with the dog. The reason I ask the dog to go to places to connect with the dog. You know, the reason I ask them to sit is to connect with the dog. That's what it is. The reason why they eat dinner at 7 o'clock every night at the same time, or 5 o'clock, or whatever the time is that you feed your dog, is to connect with the dog. The reason why they're not allowed on the couch is to connect with the dog. You
Mhm.
know, it's all to establish that connection so the dog wants to pay attention and finds value in what you say, you
Yeah,
know?
and knows that they belong there because you've taken the time to connect with them in ways that Martin's talking about by
To
showing them the
teach.
structure, right? And showing them, look, this behavior, I mean, the relationship boils down to rapport, right? And even last night, like I had this, I hope they're watching too. Um, I had this client that it was two Labradoodles. They're going to know exactly who they are. No, it's one Bernedoodle, one Labradoodle. They just got the Bernedoodle, and two Dachshunds. And man, I go into that house and it was chaotic, right? It was
Four
just a
dogs is a lot of dogs.
cacophony of barking and chaos, man. And it went on for about 5 minutes, and I'm just on that front mat, and I'm asking them. I was like, "What's this feel like to you guys?" You know, and they're all trying to, hey, hush, 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 don't bark, you know, grabbing dogs, and I'm like, "What do you think that these dogs are trying to accomplish here?"
Mm-hmm.
Right? And I'm just I just want to kind of get an idea of where where their mindset is, right?
Right.
And and to just see how they view these animals, right? And then, dude, I see this Labradoodle just zipping across the couch, like the little girl's over there on the chair, and this dog just has no awareness of her sitting there, just runs right over her,
Mm-hmm.
right? And I'm like, this dog's mind is way over across this room, while
Mm-hmm.
she's right here. Like with this dog's mindset is down the block while
Mm-hmm.
we're on the front porch, right? And that's what we mean by connecting with that dog. Sometimes we need to bring their awareness right here to us.
Mm-hmm.
And literally it can save their life if they're not aware and they're running after this thing and they're not aware of this oncoming vehicle or whatever it is, you know, even a
Yep.
cliff, like a dog wants to run and jump off this ledge. And I've had a dog that jumped off a cliff because it was just so excited to get out of this truck. It wasn't my personal dog, it was a client dog, right?
Mm-hmm.
But that's what I'm talking about, is like, that's the value of connecting with this animal,
You
is
have to
showing
connect
them the
with your dog.
boundary, right? And
Yep. Showing
it's
them
not
from,
mean,
and they're
it's,
always waiting for you right now. They're here.
yeah.
You know, it's just a matter of getting them to, oh yeah, you.
Well, what
You
I was
know.
telling him too is, like, as that Labradoodle was zipping around, I was like, that this guy's looking, he doesn't know what to do. Like he has no idea. Like he needs to be shown exactly what to do. And when we show him what to do, you're gonna see a wave of relief coming over this dog's face.
Yep.
And after that, I mean, during that lesson, I said, look at that dog. I said, I was like, what do you guys think of that dog right now? And the dog just present, being there with us, totally calm, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was like, this is what we want. This is a new future for our dog, right? And it's,
Mm-hmm.
people got to remember too, a lot of times when these dogs are overreacting and going crazy, that's stress.
Yep. Yep. It usually is stress.
It usually is. It's
It
not
usually is
excitable. It's
stress.
not cute.
It's no. He's not
It's
necessarily happy to see
right,
you.
right.
He's not necessarily, just because he's jumping and he's all wiggly, and he's opening his mouth and lightly grabbing on your sleeve. It does not necessarily mean that he's actually happy to see
Yeah.
you. He might be a little bit stressed out. Um, yeah, that's definitely true.
Well, people like to anthropomorphize or label the dogs with the human characteristics, you know, and that's where, like,
Hmm.
and you're a fan of Nelson?
Yes, I am. Huge
Like
fan of
I kind
Nelson.
of figured, since
Huge fan of Nelson.
RBBM, you know, and I've gone
Yep.
through his course a couple times. And anybody, man, I got to have Nelson back on here. It's been a while, but definitely recommend checking out Nelson Hodges and his Canine Human. What is it? Canine
Canine Human Institute.
Right.
Human Canine Institute. I think that's what it is. The name of it is. But I'll definitely make a comment back on this with it because I've been there a bunch of times. I'm a big fan of Nelson. He's taught me so much about how to make friends with the dog.
Yeah.
So much beyond the normal things that dog trainers would do.
Well, and how
If
to
you're
observe the dog and how to be truthful. And just like what you're saying, like just because this dog's got his mouth on you doesn't necessarily mean that he's loving you or whatever, you
obviously,
know? Sometimes
yep.
Nelson's like, sometimes I get a lick just to see how you taste.
Yep.
Man.
That's true.
But yeah, I want to see. I'll see what Nelson's up to. Actually, see if we could actually.
You should definitely get him on.
Oh, I've had him on like 3 times already. He's a dear friend of mine, and I love him. My wife loves him. And it's just he's a great person, man. But he's very knowledgeable, and not only that, but just like what you do music, you draw. I'm a glass artist. I do other art as well, and I think that, and
He's
Nelson's
a Renaissance man. That guy.
yes, sir. You better
That
believe
guy.
it.
He does architecture, guitar, music, huskies.
And that by itself, I call the Huskies the eccentric dog breed. Excuse me. Here, Rachel or Rahel says it's Canine Human Relationship Institute. Canine Human Relationship Institute. Okay, yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
Canine Human Relationship Institute. And then I'm going to I don't know if he's available, he might even just hop on here real quick and say hi. So join us. He's joined us before. I'm curious to see how he's doing with all this COVID thing, and But what I like about him is he makes you become the dog, man, and that's what I always encourage my clients to do, is to see through the world like a dog, or become the dog by proxy, so to speak, right?
Yeah. It was really valuable. I don't know if you know about, well, you know about his programs, but one of the things I liked about his programs is that he took away a lot of the tools that we normally use. Things that you normally use to communicate with the dog is like you can't use those just for the exercise. You can't use them. And that opened up a whole new way, or another thing that we're able to see. Also, I learned from him. I always believed in structure, but I actually saw the power of structure with the removing of all these tools. So just structure by itself is a real powerful tool in changing the way a dog behaves and building a relationship with the dog.
Dog crave structure. Dogs crave it.
Mm-hmm.
And that by itself, if you were to just choose to structure your day with your dog's benefit in mind, I think that you might see a lot of behaviors that, you might find problematic, either dissipate or even go away.
Yes, I agree with that. Most people, if they add structure in, they see a change. Unless you're already structuring, you'll see a change. And a lot of times, we solve problems before our lessons that way.
Right.
Just by working through structure.
Well, and a lot of times too, people, what Gary Vaynerchuk is? He's a Jersey boy there. Gary V. Never heard of Gary V?
I'm not familiar.
So he's a motivational speaker, and like Tony Robbins or whatever, right?
Mm-hmm.
But he's pretty good. He swears a lot. He's made he's a very successful guy. He's on TikTok and Instagram, and I was watching one of his seminars one time, and he says that he hates dogs, and I kind of tuned into him. I'm like, what? And he's like, I know what you're thinking, I know some of you are, I just got a lot of your attention. He's like, but hear me out. He's like, I hate dogs because people put too much energy into those dogs when they haven't even done the work on themselves. Like they use these dogs as an emotional dumping ground, or
Hmm.
and I was like, okay, I get it. What do you
Your
think about
problem is
that?
not really with dogs, though. I'm sorry.
Yeah, right. Totally. Yeah, his problem is not with dogs. Like that's
You misspoke, sir.
yeah, exactly. Dogs are awesome, dude. You shut up. But I get what do you see what he's saying? Do you get it at all? What do you think of that?
I get what he's saying, and it's a hard thing. It's a partnership, right? So the thing that always was hard for me, and I'm gonna tell the truth, and the thing that was always hard for me is emotional support animals. I've always had a hard time, a really hard time with that concept, just because I feel like it's my job to support my animal, you know? Um, so that has always been very tricky to me, and that's what it seems like that whole industry is about. I don't feel good. I have anxiety. I have issues. So I get a dog so I could share it with them, instead of trying to really fix it ourselves. And I know a lot of people need these animals or they're using them, and the medical field agrees with it, and they know what they're doing better than I know, definitely. But that's the
I
thing that
I
always
take
got
my
me
own
with it.
dog with me to my counseling sessions. Like I do mental health or stuff like that. I think that's very valuable, and I take my own dog with me to those
Hmm.
sessions. And that's the only time that I consider her to be like an emotional support animal is like when I'm going through something where I'm kind of picking through my emotions, and she really is at my feet just like she is now. Like she's
Hmm.
not doing anything. Like she's doing the
Hmm.
downstay in the office, like just like she is now, but just her
Now,
presence, right? That's what I think. But I would never ever call her my ESA. I would never ever take her.
Now,
Or,
I'm not talking about those dogs that really help people when they're having a panic attack by putting pressure on their body and things like that.
right.
I'm not talking about service animals,
That would be
you
a
know.
service animal.
I'm talking about just regular everyday emotional support dog. I always have a hard time. I don't really. A lot
It's
of
like
times,
it.
especially in Boston, is people get the tag emotional support because they just want a dog and the landlord won't let them get a dog, which is really wrong too. There's a lot of things that are
It's a
there
loophole.
that that
It's
I
a
really
loophole
don't.
that people take advantage of, and in doing so, you water down the the responsibility. Well, let me think about it for a second, the way I want to present this. What do you think it does? I mean, what do you think that the problem is for that people are taking advantage of these loopholes just to get dogs? Because people don't realize that an ESA dog, there's no standard of behavior. There's no real training standards that we have with the service dog, where the dog is actually trained, this little girl, to actually perform a task, right? To aid in a disability. The service dog is kind of derivative of like a wheelchair or a medical device, right?
Right. Right,
And
and that's
so
different. And then emotional support dog. I think the only thing they're really allowed to do is live in your place where you live. They're
and
not allowed to
fly
go on.
and
Are they
fly
allowed to
and
fly?
well, I think they just changed it. So I got to have Jennifer Hack on. I'm going to have her back on, but or Leslie or somebody that knows a little bit more than I do about the ESA. But because of all these problems that they've had with people getting bit on these airlines and these dogs defecating or whatever where they shouldn't be and causing a situation that is not very sanitary, but also causing planes to ground and clean, and that costs a lot of money, man. And
Hmm.
when you're hitting the pocketbooks, and then also these flights getting sued, for this dog that was allowed without any type of assessment. And so what they're doing now is they're doing an assessment for these dogs that are claiming to be ESA or service dogs, that they have to prove that this dog listens to commands, isn't unruly, um, and all that stuff. I'll get more into. We're going to do another live stream where we're going to get really deep into the new rules and what's expected.
Hmm.
But I think absolutely a dog should perform just like they're not even there. Whenever I fly with my dogs, people, when I depart the plane, people always ask, they say, do you have a dog? Because they never know,
Yep.
man. It's underneath my seat the whole time.
Yep. Itty Bitty ain't bothering nobody. She's
Right.
dead
She's
quiet.
crashed
She's
out,
not
man.
doing anything.
You know?
She knows what this is when you need to be, you're in your crate. That's why crate training is so valuable, especially if you're doing a small dog. Yeah, sitting on the leash is valuable to a large dog.
Mhm.
Just because it teaches them how to calm down sometimes. I like this question you put up there.
Mark
What do you
Davis.
think?
Are there any
What do you
breeds
think?
that are inherently harder to train, or is it the individual dog? Both.
See, how could you just say both? You got to go one way or the other way, Bill. You can't just skip in the middle. I'm not taking it. I'm not
Poof.
accepting it. I'm not accepting it. Choose one.
Well, I think that I think it's an individual dog. If I had to choose one, it'd be the individual dog, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be it. But I mean, you got to know what these dogs are bred for. And the original. What do you think? Hold on.
It's the individual dog, unless you're talking about huskies or Shiba
Yeah.
Inus
Both. See what I'm saying?
or the Beagle. No,
Independent
it's the
dogs, right?
Chihuahua. No.
Right.
It's the individual dog. All those dogs, all the breeds can be trained.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And there's
And it's
individual dogs
definitely
within those breeds that are difficult that are amazing. Like those dogs, like, oh
yes,
my God, there's a Shiba
yes.
Inu that is like totally codependent, right?
And I've seen completely unruly Dobermans who are just like, I do not want to be trained. I know what you want me to do. I
Yep.
understand. I just don't want to do that. I want to live a peaceful life, but without listening to you.
Yeah.
I've seen
Anti-authoritarian.
it.
Anti-authoritarian. I love them because I'm anti-authoritarian myself, you know. But yeah, to answer your question, Mark, both. Just kidding. Individual dog followed up by, yeah, there's certain dogs that are more challenging just because they tend to
Italian
be,
Greyhounds.
yeah, whippets. Well, speaking of which, that's a min pin, is a Dotson with a whippet or Italian Greyhound. Is that how you make a
Is
min pin?
that
Yep.
there was more in there though. I think there was a German dog called
Maybe.
the Pincer.
Okay.
The
That was
German
in there too.
Pincer,
The
which
little
is also
sprinkle. The little.
yeah. Yeah, I think the German Pinscher's in there. I think they also got some things from the Terriers, from the Manchester Terrier,
Okay.
maybe.
Well, I
But
did the thing on my
I
skipper
have to go look
key,
again.
and I mean the skipper key is a Belgian dog, but I got this dog traced all the way back to like Croatia before it was even a Belgian breed, right? It's like it goes
Hmm.
way, way back, and it's pretty cool, man. And it's like a brain trust of this genetic pool that we can tap into, and that's the other thing too. Like I'm working with Embark with these guys. Like I'm sending them like what exactly their breed is, what I'm shooting for, and so we can
Hmm.
list those now in the breeds that we can select in the Embark, right?
Nice.
And you know, my goal is just like fun, cute dogs that people are going to enjoy for the rest of that dog's life, you know. And for little kids to have a dog that they'll remember forever, man. And I remember when they got that dog, you know, and I could see their face light up, and I'm like, dude, you're gonna
Hmm.
remember this day forever, you know.
Hmm. They have to be sure that they recognize, that they are dogs. But I'm sure that with your dogs, you go through and you teach them
You better
from
believe it.
before, tell their
They're every
parents
crate
about
trained,
all of that.
you know, it's valuable. All this stuff is valuable because I've seen the applications like literally save dogs' lives, right? That when a dog is manic and crazy and doesn't know what's up, we haven't taken that time to connect with that dog like you were talking about. And by connecting with that dog, we're showing them what's expected in the structures of the human world. It's our moral obligation because we're bringing them into the human world, right? And we are higher
Hmm.
consciousness. We have the prefrontal cortex. We have the ability to set up the environment where the dog thinks that they're the ones that are inventing the idea, right?
Hmm.
And so that's, I mean, it's just it's our obligation to understand and to fulfill the needs of our dogs, and we can do that while fulfilling our own needs,
Yep, that is true.
you know.
Definitely. I made a YouTube video about that recently.
What's your
It's
YouTube?
My YouTube is Argos Dog Training.
Here, let me go
Argos
there.
Dog Training. I made a video about that, why we should train dogs. I'm preparing for It's going to be a part of a series, how to choose a good dog trainer. But a part of it is why should we even bother to train the dogs in the first place? So definitely what you just said right there, it is our responsibility to train them. If we don't train them, we're not teaching them. And then why do we have them around? Kind of
That's
mean.
right.
you know, it's
Well,
kind of mean not to teach them.
well, and that's it, man. It's kind of mean not to. Where people do, they think it's the opposite. They're like, it's kind of mean too,
No, we
right?
have to train you. And in method, like I am not a big person who runs around screaming about method. I don't care which method you use. You choose whatever
Okay.
method you want. Train your dog. Play with your dog. I don't care. That's the thing is that we have to do it, and we have to have good communication with them. We shouldn't be strangers to them for our whole lives with them. You know, if you
Hmm.
can't predict what they're gonna do next, We have to learn how to do that. You know,
Well, and not
so
only
it's
that,
not
but get
safe.
physical. Touch your dog.
Hmm.
And you get. Here, I'm pulling up your site here. So, Argos dog training. Here, I'm going to actually watch this, man.
It's a big goofy face of mine.
It is.
Being goofy. I think I have itty bit just sticking out right here.
Here, let's see. Let's see here. I'm going to do Chrome tab. Here we go. So, my dog's chewing on my. Can you see it at
Yep.
all, or what?
There you go. Yeah.
Okay.
That's my page.
There you
You
go.
can see we
Everybody go to
definitely need some
YouTube right
subscribers.
now. Yep, go to YouTube. I need to subscribe, but I'm not signed in on this page for some reason. But yeah, look at you, man. Look at how
I have
handsome
a
you are
lot
right
of
there.
really good stuff up there.
Yep.
And definitely, if you go check it out, I'd love to hear from you guys, hear back from you, and answer questions or clarify anything or whatever.
Well, and you've been doing a series with the muzzle and with the crate with Itty too, right?
Yes, the muzzle series with Itty Bit. That is a good one because Itty Bit is a miniature pincer and she definitely does not want to wear a muzzle. And in that series, there it is right there. In that series, we talk about muzzles, how to alter them for the dog. We talk about how to train the dog and teach the dog to be, to wear the muzzle comfortably. We do a lot of fun stuff, and this is just activities, especially if you're indoors through the winter with your dog. A muzzle is not very expensive, and you could actually teach tricks with the muzzle. you know, teach the
Yeah, it's
dog
just
to
an
do
object,
things. So,
Yeah, pretty
yeah,
cool, man. But look at that tail up. Look at that engagement. Look at her like, pay me, pay
yeah,
me.
she
I call
loves
this.
food. This dog will run through a brick wall for food. She really will. She will dig at that wall. She will get through it for one kibble, one piece of kibble. Like I will not give up.
I
So
love
she's
dogs like
like
that.
that, but also you can build food drive. That's another thing. In games like this, although she will do anything for food, the thing that she likes even more than the food is the interaction.
That's
It's the
right.
fact that there's nothing else going on except for Itty Bit right there in my mind. Not right here. Here I'm shooting a video, but in general, when I'm working with her, that's what she's into. It's in the interaction.
Yeah,
You
who's
know,
not, man? If you were somewhere and somebody was interaction with you and giving you attention and being cordial and nice and trying to, figure out your needs so that they could fulfill them, that's pretty cool, man. I mean, not only
yeah,
that, but even like with playing sports and stuff like that. Sometimes we like to juke and 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 jive each other and trick each other a little bit just to make sure that we challenge and keep each other on our toes, right? And so here we are again. I love that little sit up, and this is it, man. And people ask me, I'm like, especially when I'm trying to get like when I do like clicker stuff or whatever with them, or trying to get that charged up, or like they're like, do I have to do this all the time? And I'm like, man, it's just like you said, interaction with your dog. It's like sitting at the kids at the dinner table at night and asking how the kid's day is, like, and really being engaged and interested in what they're saying and talking to you about, and being present, right? And being present with our dog is just as important, And
we're
look at
dog
her
people.
attention.
We're
Yeah.
dog people, right? So do I have to do this all the time? Don't don't you want to do this?
Boom.
you know,
That's
you
what I
know, it's
say.
like, but Don't you want to? Like, if this is what I could do all the time, if I didn't have to return another business email, and
No
I could just
kidding.
train the dog all the time, that would be great.
It
you
just gives
know?
you so much joy, man. And you can see them, see they're I mean, they're into it, dude. She's totally into it.
Yeah,
Look at
she's
her
starting to
running
play
around.
games. We're starting to toss treats, and she's running back and volunteering her face into the muzzle. It's like,
Wow.
here it is. That's what we want to do with our dog. She didn't have that idea. She didn't think it was a good idea to do that. But I communicated to her, and I'm proud of that. And every dog owner should feel that same pride. I communicated an idea to my dog.
Yes.
you know,
Well, and
and it's
that dog,
fun.
that is that big prize too. Like eye on the big prize until we're there. But
Yeah.
sometimes your dog will kind of take like a little tangent or do something else, and sometimes that's a good thing too because then they show us something that we weren't even expecting. You know
Yep.
what I'm saying? Like they might spin around or something, be like, there we go. That was actually good too. Like, and that's where like even when we're shaping behavior, like I tell people, be specific, but don't be too specific sometimes, and
Right.
especially if we're doing it operantly with different stuff. Look at that, and then
Shape and capture. They
shape
go
and
together.
capture. That's right. And sometimes we might want to capture something else that is the dog's idea,
Yep.
right? We don't just want to capture what's our idea. If there's something that you like, then capture that as well, and let the dog be the inventor of their own idea, right? And be the
And
creative,
their own tricks.
right? And
All three of my dogs have a different book of tricks because they kind of we come up with our tricks together.
yeah,
So
they
they
show you what
all,
they do.
yeah, what they want to do. What do you want to do? That's the whole point. Like, there's times when I have to tell my dog what they have to do, right? You have to do this. But because we're friends, there are times when I want to do what my dog wants to do. Because if that wasn't the case, we would not be able to be friends.
That's right.
We have to. That's something Nelson talks about too in his program. The follow
Look
the
at
dog
that.
thing is so cool.
So tell
It's the same thing.
what is follow the dog, and I'm gonna so you guys go to Argos Dog Training on YouTube and make sure that you subscribe, and then we're gonna come back here, and then what is follow the dog? Explain to
Follow
people
the
what that
dog
is.
is an exercise that Nelson does where basically it's so simple. The beauty is it's simple. You go outside, you look at the dog, you're like, where do you want to go? And you go where that dog goes. And you go as fast as you can that dog wants to go there, wherever it is. Of course, keep yourself safe. Don't do anything that's not going to be safe. But
Right.
if you find a nice spot in the woods and you're like, all right, let's go, or even if you're in a quiet neighborhood, you end up places that you never thought you'd be, and you go on adventures with your dog, and your dog is going to look at you like, wow, this is really cool, and you're going to
It's a
build your
bonding.
relationship.
It's a
It's a
bonding
bonding
exercise.
experience.
That's right.
Yeah,
And
yeah, and you don't
he'll
have to do it
even
all the time.
well, and he'll even plant some treats too. You
Plant
know,
smells.
yeah, plant smells for that dog,
Yep,
right?
yep,
Little
because they
fishy
love their
stuff,
house. Yep.
and then both of you guys just found that together, right?
Or even the thing that got me was when he was like, and then you show them the smell, and they think that you found it. So now you're even cooler because you could actually find stuff with your weak human nose. And like, no, my human brain, not nose, but whatever.
That right, but we set up that environment to get the outcome, right? Where the dog
Right.
thinks that they're the invention or their inventor of that idea. And just like Martin is an artist, I'm an artist, this allows the dog to be the artist, right?
Yes, the dogs get to have fun and they get to do what they love to do. Dogs should be able to seek. We can, even if it's hide and seek in the house, they're scavengers. They're gonna love that.
Yeah.
you know.
Well, and force
And
them to
so,
use that nose. They might come by you 4 times using those eyes, 5 times using those eyes. And then all of a sudden they're going to stop and then be like, nose. And then once they use their nose, they'll find you in about, you
yep.
know,
As a matter of fact, puppies, you know this, their eyes are closed when they're born. I don't know, are they hearing at that point? I think the only
there's
thing really
something,
working
man.
is their smell.
I was talking about this. There's definitely something that they can tune into. I think they have like heat receptors or something, man, because Yaya had to have an emergency C-section for these puppies, and I brought her home, and she was under anesthesia, so she took a while to shake that stuff off. It really knocks you for a loop. And we were trying to get the pups to latch onto her, but I wanted her to rest, and I had another litter, and so we let those pups latch onto my other dog, my rat terrier, and they latched on, and I went over to Yaya, and I was loving her up, and then I go back after a little while. I actually kind of dozed off when I was loving up my girl because I stayed up all day, all night, and I woke up, and then I go over, and her 3 pups had separated themselves, and they're hours old, Martin. They're not even, you know, and yeah, their eyes and ears and everything are closed, but they're in one little group together, like, and they're closer to Yaya's whelping box, like they've drifted towards her direction, and there's parameter all around the whelping boxes, and then there's a parameter, and then there's another parameter. And so I took all 3 dogs and I set them by Yaya, and they've crawled right to her. And there's something that these puppies have, that when they're born, they're just a few hours old.
I bet you a sense of smell. I'm pretty
It's
sure I
gotta
read
be,
somewhere.
dude.
I'm pretty sure I read somewhere that even with humans, the first sense that we have is our first to come and last to go is our sense of smell.
It's the strongest sense tied to memory. Oral factory sense, strongest sense tied to memory in human beings. That's why you can smell like an old gasoline engine. For me, takes me back to when I was a little kid driving with my grandpa, right?
Yep.
Or
Grass always. Fresh cut grass always.
What kind of grass there, Martin? What kind of grass are you talking about?
Regular grass, man. Everyday grass.
But yeah, I know what you mean. It reminds me of summer, dude. You know, and just get down there and smell like fresh cut grass, and
that always reminds me of cutting grass. Me cutting grass.
You used to cut grass yourself as a living for?
No.
Were your own company or?
No, just as a kid. Go cut the grass.
Yeah, being what kids are for, man.
Go cut the grass. You need something to do, boy? Go cut the grass.
Yeah. Did you just say you're bored? Go cut the grass.
Then rake the leaves.
And because we're little, you know, that yard is so big and that mower is so much bigger, you know, but we forget that stuff, man, you know. But well, dude, how do people find you in Boston? What do you serve the whole greater area of Boston? Do you do Massachusetts? I
serve all of Boston. You just have to look up Argos Dog Training, and we're all over the place. We're on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. We're on YouTube, email, websites, all those things are out there. Just Argos Dog Training. Maybe you'll hit Boston. I think there's an Argos Dog Works in Atlanta. Shout out to Argos everywhere in the world.
What's Argos mean?
Argos comes from the Iliad, or the Odyssey, excuse me.
Homer's Odyssey.
And Odysseus. I can hardly ever say his name. But he was the main character, and of course he went off to fight the war, and then when he came back after 20 years, his dog was still alive. And he came back in disguise because, you know, people were trying to take over his kingdom, and his dog recognized him, and he got petted, and then he promptly died. And he was the fastest dog ever, they say.
He just waited for that last pet.
Yeah. It was almost going to be Kryptos. You know who Kryptos is?
I do. But explain.
That's Superman's dog. You know, so it was like Kryptos Dog Training or Argos Dog Training. But A comes before K, and the phone book was a big deal when I was starting out. So
well, and I think that everybody would say would spell it with a C too, because of cryptocurrency and all that stuff too.
I think they spell it with a K.
Yeah.
The dog is spelled with a K because it's Krypton. Yeah, anyway.
Yep, and the kryptonite, right? The
kryptonite.
That's right, the weakness.
And that's how Batman beat Superman, which we know he could never really do, but whatever.
I think Superman would be Hulk, dude. I'm a Hulk guy, you know.
Do you think Hulk could beat Superman? You're crazy.
I don't know. He's green, dude. Maybe he's got some kryptonite in his blood or something. I don't know.
That's gamma, man. That's gamma.
Listen to you.
Yeah, I'm full on nerd.
Oh yeah. Oh look, Jason's just joining us. Way to join the party, dude. We're about ready to sign off.
Yeah. What's up, Jason?
I gotta have him back on, man. He was my very first live stream ever, was Jason. So yeah, dude. Every time that I've gotten into like I had my skipper key out of her carry-on because the flight attendant told me, bring your dog out. Like we had a we had a delayed flight the night before, and then had to go back to the airport, and they get us all hotel rooms and stuff. And then there was only 6 people on the flight. And then she saw that I had a dog, and she was like, "Let that dog out." Like that's it. Like, and I was like, okay. But a lot of people really got upset about me letting this dog out on the plane. And
some people are afraid of dogs.
No, not they all loved it on the plane. I'm talking on Facebook when I posted up photos. My dog sitting on the plane, like all these people were like, "Shame on you, Bill," and I was just like, my goodness. But I wanted Jason to know, yeah, whatever. But I wanted Jason to know that I was wearing his shirt while I was doing that.
Yep.
So, but yeah, I'm gonna go actually blow some glass today. I got my torch turned on, and yeah, Martin, he says. But dude, it was awesome talking with you, dude.
Hi, Michelle. It's good to see you.
Yeah, there's Michelle.
Michelle is great. She's outside of Boston too. Great dog trainer.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Michelle Gillis. Well, I'll be talking to some more dog trainers on this, and you know, I just love talking to people, getting to know them, and you know, I've met you personally and know you're a great guy, and I appreciate your time today. And
we should definitely do this again at some point, and hopefully it'll be over on my channel over there, and we'll be able to talk more about your breeding process and how you help to select a family for your dogs and all those kind of things.
I'll be
glad to share that with my audience, how a respectable dog trainer dog breeder should go about adopting out their dogs, you know, and what
a dog trainer.
Normal.
You know, I'm a dog trainer too, you know,
and a trainer. You're a trainer too, so definitely showing
how
the price of those intersect.
Right, the price of the dogs includes training. You know,
yes,
it's baked in. You know, and so that's another thing that I can add value to the situation. And you know, I love it, dude. I feel like it's time that I do this. And
definitely,
dude, I just love it. I love to go in there and like take hits of puppy breath and just love up these puppies, and you know, but also watching the mom, dude, and watching the mom toughen these puppies up, right? Mm-hmm. And I talked about that, and it's like just observing, and like we were saying earlier, it's very important to take that observer role and watch what is. So, dude, I'll do it anytime, and I'm doing a lot more stuff on my YouTube channel as well, and I'll sign in and I'll subscribe to your channel, Argos. And if everybody's listening, subscribe to Argos and subscribe to my YouTube channel too. I want to get up to 1,000 subscribers so I can start to monetize it. Make that dollar bill.
That's the dream. And help as many people as possible. You know, we got to get our point of view out there, because everybody's unique, and every person out there, there's a dog trainer to fit each person. You know, and so everybody's unique. So got to get your voice out. Thank you so much, Bill.
You're welcome. Stay there, man. I'm going to end the broadcast, and I'll say goodbye to you on the other end.
Bye, everybody.
Say bye, everybody.